So look, I've read so many books on money and on finances because I wanted to discover the secrets of extremely wealthy people. But books take a long time to finish, and more often than not, you could really sum up the book in just a few simple paragraphs or main concepts. Which is why in today's video, I'm going to share with you 9 key lessons I learned by reading over 40 books on money. Now, since it's probably the first time you and I meet, why should you listen to me? My name is Fred, and I went from struggling financially over 5 years ago to starting a profitable lead generation business and then transitioning into consulting, and nowadays I make upwards of $1,000 per day in my early 20s, and most of it is profit. So on this channel, I not only share with you my story as an entrepreneur, originally from a lower middle class background, but I also share with you step-by-step strategies so you too can become financially free. Lesson number 1, you have to pay yourself first. Now this lesson comes directly from a book called The Richest Man of Babylon, and the main concept is that you always want to save a certain portion of your income before you pay anything else, and ideally you want to aim for at least 20% of your earnings. So what this means in plain and simple English is that before you spend money on your expenses, your bills, your hobbies, your travel, anything else, first you want to save 20% of that money. And by paying yourself first, it not only encourages a certain discipline when it comes to your finances, but it also allows you to stack up a certain amount of capital to be able to invest into the stock market or bonds or things like that, or even better, to invest in your education, to start a business, or to learn high income skills so you can make more money. Because saving money is not a strategy that works long term, because year after year, because of factors like inflation, the money that you save, it only loses value. So your buying power is decreasing every year, and that's why extremely wealthy people invest most of their money. That's why billionaires don't have $1 billion in their bank account. Most of it is literally just the worth of their company and of their different investments, of their assets, but they never have $1 billion in cash in their bank account. And that's why net worth is pretty much worthless, because you can be rich on paper but broke in reality. So in order to pay yourself first, what I recommend that you do is that you set up automatic transfers every month to literally just take money from your main account and put it into another account to either save up some capital to start a business or invest in yourself, or to simply set that money to be automatically invested in, let's say, the stock market, for example. That way you don't even have to think about it, it's done automatically, and you don't have to resist the temptation of using that money to spend on nice things, on hobbies, on clothes or whatever. And doing this also allows you to create a small emergency fund that will give you peace of mind and help you to just cover for life's unexpected expenses should anything happen, like a car breaking down, insurance not being covered, things like that. But this is also why lesson 2 is to start your own business, because like I just said, you can spend all of your life saving money, but first there's only a limited amount of money that you can save, and that money that you save, it decreases the quality of your life short term because you need to not spend that money. But the money that you save, it won't automatically gain value, and year after year it loses buying power because of inflation. And while you can make a lot of money with a regular career, a high paying career, you could work your way up the C-suite in a big company, but that kind of position comes with a lot of downsides. Yes, you might make 6 figures a year, but it takes you decades to even get to that point, if you manage to get to that point, because the competition is fierce and ruthless. And on top of that, you probably lack time and geographical freedom. And people like me in their 20s, they can't make $10,000 per month and more with a regular career, because it takes decades to first study in university and then slowly climb the corporate ladder for years, and then you have an established career in your 40s. But if you're like me, your goal is to enjoy your life while you're young. I personally grew up in the lower middle class, and I witnessed my parents struggle. My father was a nurse, my mother a nursing assistant, and every single day they would complain about the price of basic necessities, like the price of bread, and I would see them working really hard, only to be underpaid and undervalued, and it broke my heart to see that. And at the same time at school, I could see these rich kids getting dropped off in like Porsches, Audis, expensive cars that my parents could have never afforded. Every year they would get the latest iPhone, while at the time I didn't even have a phone, and every morning I had to get up super early to take the crowded bus to go to school, so it wasn't fun by any means. And the worst part was hearing them talk about their vacations, because us, we never did anything really. So they would tell stories about their vacations to Italy, to New York City, to London, but us growing up, we never went and explored different countries because we couldn't afford real vacations. So I was essentially stuck all summer in my tiny room, and it felt incredibly frustrating because I wanted to go out there and to have fun. And so that's why from a very young age, I made it my mission to become successful, because I wanted to get myself and my family out of the hell that's the lower middle class. So if you want to become wealthy, you need to become an entrepreneur, a business owner, because the rules of the game were not made for employees. When you're an employee, you automatically get taxes deducted from your salary. There's nothing you can do about it. But when you're a business owner, you can deduct certain expenses from your corporate taxes. And that's how you can apply the concept of paying yourself first first before you even pay taxes, but employees can't do that. Now I know it can be extremely confusing to figure out which business to start or what steps to follow, so to help you, I've recorded a free video in which I share with you everything I did step by step to start a profitable consulting that makes me over $1,000 per day in profit. And I'm also going to reveal the only 3 activities you need to focus on doing if you want to make serious money. I will leave the link in the description below, or you can also directly apply to book a call with me or my team, and we'll see if we can help you to build your business. The next lesson I'd like to share with you is to live below your means. Honestly, sometimes you would be shocked to see that the people who make the most money, they're actually the most broke. And I know this for a fact because I've spoken to hundreds of people by now, successful business owners, not so successful business owners, and everyday people who wanted to start a business. And sometimes it's shocking how the people who make the most money have the least in reality. And that's typically because of something that we call lifestyle creep, meaning the more you have, the more you'll spend. It's like the more room you have, the more space you're gonna take up. I personally knew people who bought expensive shit, not because they genuinely enjoyed it because they liked it, but because they wanted people to perceive them in a certain way. And to me, that is the saddest thing ever. You become successful, you've worked hard for it, but you don't even spend money on the things that you like or travel to the places that you like because it won't look as cool on social media or in the eyes of other people. Like, that's the saddest thing ever. Your dream car doesn't have to be a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. Some people, what they really want, it's a BMW, but instead they're gonna buy the Lamborghini because they want to flex, when deep down that's not what they really want. And honestly, I'll tell you this right now, people don't care about you. People don't care whether you get out of a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, or a BMW or a Toyota. Sure, people might look at you if you get out of a sports car, but most people, they won't even think, oh wow, he or she worked so hard, they earned it. They will just be jealous, most likely. Don't think, oh, they probably just had rich parents, they didn't work for it anyway. They're so lucky, it's so unfair. So if you really want to impress people, do it in a different way, because that, in my experience, doesn't work, especially if you're young, because people automatically assume you're just a daddy's boy. It's funny because one day on social media, I had someone comment on one of my posts, why don't you show more logos than just Under Armour when working out? Well, that's because I don't like wearing logos. If you notice my clothes, it's always plain clothes in one simple color, and I buy multiple of the same clothes. So to give you an example, I have the same black shirts, like I have 10 of them, but there's no logo on them. Like, I don't like those shirts where it's written Gucci or Balenciaga or whatever. To me, it's ugly, and people just buy that because they want to show you, hey, look, I have money. I don't need to do that. I don't give a fuck. Now, if you want to see me posting pictures of the nice stuff, you can just give me a photo on Instagram. Now, the next lesson I want to share with you is to invest early and consistently. One of the very first lessons I learned when I started to read books on money when I was a kid is that the rich doesn't work for money. So growing up in the lower middle class, most people around me, they were okay with selling their time in exchange of money. But time is infinitely more precious than money will ever be, because you can make as much money as you want. But once your time is lost, it's lost forever, and you will never get it back. So most people have their priorities completely backwards. They put money on a pedestal instead of prioritizing their time. And investments, they give you leverage, and leverage is what makes rich people rich. If you have no leverage, you won't be successful. So to give you an example, if you work a regular career, you are paid for your value to some degree, but you're mostly paid for the time that you give the company, except that there's only so much time you can spend working in a day, in a week, in a month, or even in a lifetime. So if you're always stuck selling your time, you will very quickly hit an income ceiling. Instead, what you need to focus on doing is selling a value, selling an outcome, a transformation. And then your price is based on the value of the problem that you solve for people, as opposed to how much time you spend like doing a certain task, because that doesn't matter. All that matters is that the work gets done. If you can do it faster, it's even better. Now, when it comes to investing, it's a great idea to invest in the stock market or bonds or even real estate. However, if you know my philosophy, I'm always going to tell you, sure, invest in the stock market, in bonds, even in real estate, collect items, but first, before you worry about investing, you need to make more money, because investing will only change the quality of your life in decades. Whereas if you start a business and you increase your income, you go from making a few $1,000s per month to making $10,000 per month, even more, then everything in your life changes, and then you can invest even more in the stock market or other kinds of investments and get even wealthier as a result. But most people have it backwards because they want to make passive money easily without having to do anything extra, except that the downside of it is that it's gonna take you your entire life to make $1 million. So first, invest money in yourself, in your education, in building your business. The next lesson I'd like to share with you is that you need to diversify your income streams, because if you're only relying on one income stream, for example, the money that you make with your day job, what happens if for some reason you lose your job? And you might think, oh no, it's not gonna happen to me. But what if it does? Are you willing to take that risk? In fact, the other day I was speaking with someone who just lost their job. It happens more often than you realize, and especially with the rise of things like artificial intelligence, it's gonna keep happening again and again. More and more jobs will be replaced. fast, so relying on one single income source is pretty risky. Instead, you want to build multiple income sources through different businesses, side hustles, real estate, or different investments like the stock market or bonds. As the book Rich Dad Poor Dad teaches us, you want to acquire assets that work for you. That's how the ultra wealthy make money work for them instead of them working for money. The next lesson I learned reading so many books on money is that you want to make it a priority to create an emergency fund. If you can save off 3 to 6 months worth of expenses, it won't give you so much peace of mind because you know that no matter what happens, you are covered. So now you can think more clearly. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, you have no savings whatsoever. First, you can't even invest money in your education and in your business so you can make more money, but at the same time, you're always living in this scarcity mentality because you're always wondering, how will I pay my bills? So it's absolutely worth to take the time to save up some money to create an emergency fund. And that way, if you need to make a big investment in your education or you need to pay some kind of unexpected expense, well, at least you can do it with peace of mind. Money is meant to be spent. That's what you really need to understand. Money is not something you should hold on to. This month alone, I have spent more than $3,000. So whenever you spend money, do so with the attitude that more will come your way. I do this all the time and it's always been true. Now, the next lesson I'd like to share with you is that you need to start leveraging good debt. So not all kind of debts are bad. Technically speaking, if it's a debt to invest in your education, if it's gonna pay you dividends in the future and increase your income, it's worth it. It's just that nowadays, most degrees are seriously overpriced and they no longer guarantee jobs. But if it's debt that allows you to invest in the stock market, in real estate, if it's done the smart way, the right way, and you get help from the right people to do it properly, because on your own you're probably gonna mess everything up, I know I would, it's debt that will allow you to build wealth because it gives you leverage because you borrow the money of someone else. When startup founders get investors, it's because they're trying to use leverage. That way the investors take on some of the risk of starting up that business and paying for all of the costs associated with it. Another thing I learned that I would like to share with you is that you need to stop waiting, you need to start doing. I've spoken to hundreds of people by now and I still speak to dozens of people every single week. And every single time I notice a common trend among successful people. They take action quickly, they make decisions quickly, they move fast. Because in life, remember, what matters even more than money, it's your time. Most billionaires right now, they're old, they're over 65 years old. I can guarantee that most of them, they would be willing to give away most of their wealth if they could be 20 years younger again. Because there's nothing more precious in this world than time. Time with the people that you love, beautiful memories and experiences. Money at the end of the day, nowadays, is literally just numbers on a screen, digits, it's virtual. So don't spend all of your life chasing more and more money, but never living. At the end of the day, the reason why people like you and I, we work so hard, it's so that we can be free and enjoy our life. That's it. It's not so that we can die the richest man or woman of the graveyard. There's no point. Life is meant to be enjoyed and life happens now, not 10 years down the line or not 10 years in the past. Because some people, they focus too much on the future. I know I'm guilty of this, but some people, they're also stuck in the past constantly. You cannot build your future looking at the past. You have to let go of it to build something new and better. Now look, it's time for you to make a choice. You can keep watching YouTube videos, but doing this will not make you more money. But if you are part of that minority of ambitious individuals who's committed to starting a business so you can become financially free, I invite you to check out the free resources in the description below or to directly apply to book a call with me or my team and we'll see if we can help you. With that being said, if you found this video valuable, share it with a friend and together, let's blow up this YouTube channel to empower more people across the globe to become financially free. And to thank you, when we get to 100,000 subs, I will be giving away $10,000.